Alon wakes up with a jolt and finds Alver in front of her, who offers her medicine because she was breaking out in a cold sweat. He tells her to get out of the carriage after taking the medicine because they've arrived at the Heath Mountains and are going to stay here for the time being, and warns her to behave, as his patience is running low, so he cannot guarantee her safety any longer. Leanne cannot sleep, worrying about lessons being canceled and the extra security around their room, and how the Emperor did not come to visit them today. And Real reassures her that there were times when the Emperor did not come to visit because he was busy, and tells her to ask Maleka if she's so worried. Maleka enters the room and finds the children awake. She tells them not to worry as everything will be fine and tells them that she has something to inform them. In the hallway, Maleka comes across the Vice Captain of Knights who reports that the preparations are done. He can still not believe that his captain, Leonhardt, would rebel against the Emperor, even though he pledged his loyalty. Maleka tells him to not let his past relationship with Leonhardt cloud his judgment. In the middle of the hall, she finds Leonhardt standing and asks for his purpose of arrival. He tells her that he's here to catch the Emperor who eliminated the entire imperial family to gain the throne. Maleka diminishes the blame and tells him that the Emperor only did so to regain the peace of the Empire. Leonhardt refutes her claim and says that the Emperor silenced everyone through fear. Maleka tells him to drop the conversation if he's not going to believe her, so he unsheaths his sword, on which Maleka says that is much better. The fight breaks down between Maleka, Leonhardt, and the knights on either side. Leonhardt is able to run past Maleka, running upstairs while Maleka chases after him. Leonhardt meets the vice captain on the way who stops him, but Leonhardt slashes him, getting the attention of the other knights who question him about the rebellion, and eliminating his fellow comrade. Leonhardt tells him that the Emperor that they are trying to protect is not worthy, but the knights claim that the peace they have today in the Empire is all thanks to the Emperor. Leonhardt tells them that the peace is not real, so they engage in battle. Leonhardt defeats them all and enters the children's room, but they're not present. He realizes that they have already been moved, and the knights he just fought are just a bait to buy more time for the children. If he wants to know of their escape route, he needs to capture Maleka, but since she's a shadow assassin, she will not open her mouth, even the face of her own death. He decides to take care of her and the other knights first. The mirror in the room catches his attention. He looks at his reflection covered in blood. The Emperor rides his horse at full speed, but the horse is tired. The Emperor tells him to hang on a little longer because he knows that if he does not make it in time, Alon's life could be in danger. Metal chains fly around him and he is surrounded by the enemy who plan to restrain him. Suddenly, the chains break midair and a Shadow Knight tells the Emperor to be on his way while they take care of things here. He rushes forward and keeps thinking about his past mistakes of not dealing with the rebels sooner and not being honest with Alon. He condemns himself, thinking how he told Alon that he did not need their children. It took him too long to understand that he wants to live with Alon and the children. He decides to save Alon even if it means risking his life. Inside a cottage, Alon is sitting on the floor when Alver's assistant tells her to come with him. She tells him that she cannot move, but he yanks her towards him using the chains in her hands. He takes her to Alver and they think that the Emperor will be here soon. Alon tells him that he would not come because they made a promise. Alver says otherwise and points to a direction, asking her if she cannot hear the sound. Alon notices the sound of a horse approaching and a shadow appearing in the woods. She panics, realizing that the Emperor is alone without any knights with him. Alver smirks and tells her that she was wrong. The Emperor came all the way here just to save Alon. Alver is excited in anticipation, but is shocked when he finds a covered body on the horse. Alon smiles while telling him that she was right. The Emperor did not come. Alver is sure that this is not the case, but he expected such an outcome as well. He orders his men to search the area because he believes that the Emperor must be hiding nearby. A few of the men start looking for the Emperor, and one of them tells others to be on their guard. Another says that his body has been feeling a little heavy ever since they walked inside the forest. He turns around to find himself all alone. The Emperor appears behind him and slashes him with his sword. The Emperor thinks that now the enemy has entered the forest, it is easier for him to assassinate them. He is glad that the paralizillant he brought with him is working. Alver gazes at the forest and finds the silence and stillness strange. Regardless of whether they found the Emperor or not, they should be reporting back to him by now. He turns to Alon, telling her that they have to change the plans a bit, and he grabs her neck. He shouts to the Emperor that if he is not coming up by the time he counts to 10, he's gonna get rid of Alon. Alon tells him that now he is really acting like a villain. He tells her that he can do things that are much worse than this if it means getting what he wants. He tells Alon to shut her mouth, but Alon replies that shutting her mouth is not going to change her situation. She shouts, telling the Emperor not to come because they cannot eliminate her. Alver frowns while telling her that he does not care about the promise he made. The only reason he has treated her with delicacy is because of their time spent together at the village. He notices the rustle of the leaves and the Emperor appears. Alver shoves Alon to his assistant and greets the Emperor. The Emperor tells him that he does not know who Alver is, which comes as a shock to him. Alver says that he destroyed his kingdom and still does not know who he is. The Emperor tells him that he does not care to remember those who are not important. Alver finds it offensive and declares that this time he will make sure to burn his image in his mind. He will make him feel the same sadness and desperation that he felt. Alver orders his assistant to cut off Alon's finger. The Emperor calls out to Alon and Alver becomes happy to finally get a reaction out of him. The Emperor asks him what he wants because he will do as he says. Alver tells him to drop all his weapons and the Emperor does so. Alver then tells him to get on his knees, so the Emperor follows his order. Alver is speechless to find the man who destroyed his kingdom kneeling before him, the arrogant and cruel Emperor on his knees just for one woman. Alver gets bold and tells the Emperor to beg for forgiveness for taking the lives of all those people. The Emperor obediently apologizes, but Alver steps on his head and asks him to really beg like his life depended on it while whacking on his head. The Emperor says that he will beg as he says, but let Alon go. Alver reminds him how his people screamed and begged for mercy, but he did not spare them. After what he did, how can he spare her? Alver orders his men to cut Alon's finger. The man's about to stab her, but Alon takes advantage of the opportunity to kick the man and grab the dagger. She tells Alver to stop, but he says that she is in no position to take them on. Alon knows that, so she places the dagger against her own neck, telling him to stop or she will take her own life. Alver tells her that her threats are not going to work, but Alon would rather die than let him use her and manipulate her any further, and tells him to get away from the Emperor this instant. The Emperor moves his head towards Alon with difficulty and tells her to put the dagger down, as it's dangerous. However, Alon refuses. She knows that it is a ridiculous threat, but that does not mean that it's not going to work. Alver, after thinking for a long time, moves his foot from the Emperor's head, saying that Alon is being foolish. Alon rebukes that if she's being foolish, then why did he move his foot, and tells him to get away from the Emperor. Alver thinks that Leonhardt is an important factor, and if Alon dies, he will turn against them, and that is too much for them to handle. The Emperor moves towards Alon when she tells him to, but Alver takes out a dagger and throws it at the Emperor. But Alon counters it with her own dagger. Alver orders and arrows fly towards them from all directions, so the Emperor carries Alon on his shoulder and runs. Alon tells him that she can run on her own, but the Emperor whistles and a horse arrives. They both escape on the horse while the enemy pursues them. After a while, the Emperor asks if they lost the enemy, but Alon does not answer and drops on his back. The Emperor notices blood on her shoulder, so he stops to bandage her and asks her about her health. Alon tells him that she's fine and that it was reckless of him to come alone. The Emperor tells her that he was trained as an assassin, so it's easier for him to act on his own. Granted, he had a terrible time when he was learning those skills. However, now he is glad that he did because they helped him rescue Alon. He tells her that he's happy to see her, and Alon reciprocates the same sentiment. Alon says that they should start moving because her bleeding has stopped now, but the Emperor tells her to get some more rest. She tells him that the rebels are still after them, but the Emperor tells her not to worry. Alon feels touched while hugging the Emperor and tells him that she is relieved to be with them, even though they are still in danger. Alver worries that they still have not been able to catch the Emperor and Alon, but his assistant takes it upon him that he was not being careful, so he will gladly accept any punishment Alver grants him. Alver stares at him with a foul mood but tells him that there's no need for the punishment, as he does not have the heart to treat him like that. The assistant thanks him and promises to find the Emperor and bring him back. After he leaves, Alver thinks that if they miss this opportunity to catch the Emperor, they will not have a chance like this in the future. Alver is sleeping with her head on the Emperor's shoulder when the Emperor notices the rustle of the leaves around him. Thinking that it might be the enemy, he grabs a stone in his hand and plans that if it is the enemy, and if it's one or two men, he can take care of them with his bare hands. But if they're higher in number, he would need a weapon. He plans to send Alon on the horse while trying to buy her time if worse comes to worse. However, to his surprise, two shadow assassins appear from the bushes. They ask about the rebels, and the Emperor tells them that they got away from them. The Shadow Assassins plan to regroup and take care of the rebels, but the Emperor stops them. The Shadows ask if they do not have enough men to face them, because if they do not take care of them now, it could be too late. The Emperor tells them that they have enough forces to take them down right now, but doing so could bring harm to Alon, and he does not wish to put her in danger again. The Shadow Assassins think that the Emperor has changed so much, because if this were in the past, he would have pulled his sword to eliminate all enemies. The Emperor carries the sleeping Alon in his arms and sweetly says that they're going home, where Leanne and Enril are waiting for them. Alon wakes up on a bed and asks where she is. The Emperor sitting beside the bed asks about her health and tells her to rest some more, even if she is feeling better. She's relieved to find that they got away safely and asks the location because this is not the Imperial Palace. The Emperor tells her that they are in Count Hess territory near the capital, because the rebels have seized the Imperial Palace. Alon panics thinking about the children, but the Emperor tells her not to worry as the children are here as well. She feels relieved and moves to go meet them, but the Emperor tells her to rest as it is nighttime and they can go to the children tomorrow. She laughs, thinking that the Emperor is being so warm and kind. The Emperor is happy to see her laugh because it means she's feeling well enough. He gets up to leave because he has some business to attend to, but Alon grabs his shirt by the arm and tells him to take some rest as well or he will faint from exhaustion. The Emperor thanks her for concern, but he has to take action against the rebels. Alon's mood drops, so the Emperor embraces her and tells her to spend the day together when things have calmed down. Alver investigates in the forest but does not find any tracks left by them. His assistant tells him to stop for now as it's dark and they could be attacked. Alver admits that he knows, but just then something glints behind him. His assistant calls out to him, but the blood splashes. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and press that bell icon to know about our latest videos.